Elle Ingalls here with Pressure Free Living, and we're going to have a very colorful interview today. You're going to see when this speaker comes on here. Welcome to this series, this leadership series. Every single person on here is bringing this little bit of different aspect to how you can up-level your leadership. And the person I have here today is, well, she's my best friend. she's someone who has transformed my life. I'm still in my workout clothes. This is giving a little plug to Ingalls Pictures. Check out ingalls.pictures.com. That is my son's video production company. By the way, they do not produce very many of my videos. I produce my own, so please do not judge that. So Lila Veronica is someone that I met over 5 years ago now. And we are accountability partners, business accountability partners. We talk pretty much every single weekday, unless we have speaking engagements or whatever. And we have for over 5 years. And we've been witness to each other as leaders, as business leaders in growing our businesses, and just in leaders in the world. We both have academic backgrounds. We have a lot in common. And so I just want to introduce her and have her introduce what she does and who she is on this planet. And the workout I just did was with her. So I am in her private coaching program, well, actually group coaching program, where she is teaching her movement practice and in a way that's so doable. And I'll let her share a bit about that too, because it's phenomenal. And I encourage anybody who wants to up-level their body so their body matches their leadership and they get in alignment like that. This is the person who can really work some magic for you. So Lila, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wah, wah, wah. Why am I putting my hands up in the air? Well, I will tell you what, if you go anywhere and you start stretching and moving and doing all this kind of thing, someone seeing you is going to start going, oh man, I need to stretch and move and do something, right? All right. I love that you called me colorful, Elle Ingalls. I'm Lila Veronica, like you said, and I have been called colorful a time or two in my life. I did not know why until I started doing video. I started doing video and I recognized how expressive I am and my body and the way that I move. And as I've trained myself over time, it's different. It's different. That's what I recognize. It's different. So, like you said, we're best friends. I'll tell you what, if there is a soul sister kind of situation out there, if that's a real thing, we found each other and connected on that level really quick. It just made sense to be together, not only because we're friends, but the work that we're doing in the world is so compatible. So Elle Ingalls does amazing work where she helps people get out of fight or flight. What I believe, it's like heaven or hell. You can live in heaven on earth, or you can live in fight or flight, which is a pseudo hell, whatever you want to call it. But Elle Ingalls is like an earth angel, if there ever is one, because she is the person who is living and teaching how to be at your highest energetic, physical, mental, emotional level. Like there's no other better thing as far as I'm concerned. And so what I teach, what's fascinating is I teach a physical practice. I'll share more about it in a second. That is the physical component of life and mental mastery. People are trying to do a lot of mindset work and still not having results because you cannot fix your mind from your mind always. As children, we grow up, we need to grow our minds through physical movement. We need to move the body to change the mind, to grow the mind. It's the same thing as adults. So one of the things that I learned from Elle right away was how to get out of stress hormones. And it took me 6 months to have my first day without it. But what I recognized pretty quick was that the tools she was teaching were a lot of the same body position things body mind positioning things even that I was teaching. And I was like, wow, these things go together really well. And what I recognized was my students and even my practice could elevate if we were out of fight or flight, right? And then people who were out of fight or flight, could understand the body movement easier as well. They could understand it. They could put it in their, day-to-day movement. So, I am finishing up the pressure-free certification program because I really believe not only for my own life, my family's life, but all my clients, everybody I teach over the years needs to be out of fight or flight in order to even receive the information that I'm about to share.
That's so true. And before you dive in, I need to say that one of the reasons when you reached out to me to connect and be accountability partners, what I said to you was, I don't know exactly what you do, but I've never seen posture like that. And I suffered from posture situations my whole life, back pain, hip pain, all kinds of crap. And I even remember my conducting teacher saying, you need to work on your posture. I was trying to hide. Here I was an orchestra conductor trying to hide. You can't hide. So, what you've brought has totally changed my life. And that synergy you just talked about is so on point. So teach away, my dear.
I love that. So I want to commend Elle because Elle is a person also who has worked on her posture before she met me for decades and still did not have the posture that she wanted, did not have the body shape, vibrancy, lightness, bounciness that you wanted, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And it's because we have been told the wrong thing. Imagine. We've been told to stand up straight, shoulders back. Tuck your belly in, suck it in, tuck your tail, right? Stay small. Also, from a mental standpoint and emotional standpoint, our body starts to get smaller and tighter and more compressed over time. We get a little bit more scared of the world and what might happen if we have things happen to us. And so we get smaller, right? As women, we'll tend to even lose our curvatures because it's too, quote, sexy. So if we want to be looked at as professional, you need to keep it rigid and tight. Right? That's what we've been told. But the truth is, it's unhealthy. It's rigid. It pushes people away. It makes you seem like an ice queen sometimes, right? Or if you're in like the stress, rigidity part, it makes you seem like you're not cognitively even capable of doing anything, or it makes it seem like you're not able to be strong enough because you'll be a pushover because you're so rigid and you can't change and you can't flow. And there's all these things with our posture we've been told that are just simply wrong. Now, here's what I will tell you. I spent 15 years, like you mentioned, we both from, academia and I spent 15 years in the environmental world, science and policy and academics and private consulting and doing all sorts of governmental work and all sorts of cool projects. And I exercised and I found myself at a point where I had super high blood pressure, where I was on really strong medication for blood pressure. I was 35 pounds overweight and I had a really bad sciatic pain issue where I had shooting pains from my hip down to my toes. And I'm like, this is not what life is supposed to be like at this age. How am I going to live long and prosper when I feel like this at this age, right? And I felt like I wasn't necessarily taking great care of myself. But I don't care even if I took great care of myself, if I was exercising the way that I was, it wouldn't have gotten any better. Because what I was doing was I was exercising in a way that was harming me from a posture standpoint. But even if I was doing the exercise just right, I was walking, sitting, and standing incorrectly, imbalanced, out of harmony. So I was, number one, completely in my head. So I don't even know what my body was doing most of the time. Number two, I would stand on one leg most of the time if I was standing, and one leg just let it, go. If I was cooking, standing, anything. And then if I was sitting, I usually was sitting cross-legged or one foot tucked under, completely imbalanced. When I was driving, even, I would tuck one foot up and drive. And so I had never even considered how I walked, how I sat, and how I stood in terms of my health. I had also never considered how I walked, sat, and stood, and how it influenced me and others in a room. So we've all heard of body language, and we know, like, oh, body language, if you're crossing your arms, or something, it's, we understand that. But this is different. What this is, what I'm about to show you, is the difference between a person who's a leader, who's thinking themselves into being a leader, and the person who is a leader and is embodying leadership. A person who's trying to do leadership is all in the head, and the body will reveal it. I'll show you how in a second. It's super cool. A leader who is embodying leadership, which simply means they are, everything they say to you, they live. That's how I see it as a leader. What they're telling you to do, I don't care what it is, whatever they're saying, to think different, do different, be different, imagine different, anything, any sort of person who's leading anybody, whether you're a parent leading a child or the Pope. If you're walking your talk, the body will reveal it. So what I'm going to show you is a few little tips about just 3 parts of your body today. There's all sorts of parts of your body that I teach. I teach 7 parts of your body and what to do with them and how to pull them all together all at one time. I'm just going to show you 3 today to keep it simple, though. So when somebody is grounded, you're like, oh, they're so grounded, or we need to be grounded. It's because their mind is in their body fully. They know what they're doing. They're moving, they're with themselves. They're not thinking, and their thoughts aren't spinning. So why is this so important as a leader? Well, if you are a leader, your body is your billboard. The way you show up and you walk in a room, you can make or break it. And as a woman, I guarantee you can make or break it. Anybody, but for sure, the energies of a woman can make or break a room in a moment with a breath, half a breath, quarter of a breath, millisecond of a breath. We all know it. We've been there. When somebody walks in the room and you're like, everything went dry, you're like, wah, wah. Or somebody walks in the room and you're like, oh my God, that person's here. Right? We all know that feeling. So what if you're the leader that walks in the room and everybody's jazzed to see you simply because of the way you walked in the room? And that's what we're going to do today. So like Elle said, we just got done with a class, so I have shorts on right now. Usually when I speak, I don't always wear shorts. If I were to speak to a group of leaders, I wouldn't always wear shorts. I'd wear like some yoga pants, but I got shorts on. With my exercise group, I wear shorts so they can see more body parts. But with the leaders, I'm like, well, these are wear pants.
Well, on my show that's just fine.
I was gonna say, I know nobody out there is probably judging me too much. It's my stuff, but I'll tell you, it's just something I want to bring forward because it's in my mind right now. I just noticed it. So I'm going to say, I'm going to bring this forward and say, even in this moment, even though I'm wearing shorts and I would like to wear pants, I'm going to show you, right? Why not? Because it's that valuable. So here's the thing. You could walk in the room, tuck tail, collapsed heart, and head forward like this. This is what most people do. Tuck tail, collapsed heart, looking down. Or sometimes, if you're trying to do leadership, maybe it's puffed chest, shoulders back. You'll still tuck tail. None of that false sense of bravado. So what's happening, friends, I'm going to show you 3 things. Your heart. If you're not confident If you don't really yet feel that leadership, it's okay. I'm going to show you how to be in your body and be it faster. But your body might be crunching up on the front. You're trying to hide it. Or if you're telling somebody to do something and you're not doing it yourself, this is going to collapse. You're kind of hiding something. Same thing if you're trying to do leadership, but you don't feel like a leader. You're going to maybe puff the chest out, but here's the deal. The back is all crunched. And somehow, some way, people know you don't got your own back. You're hiding something. Don't be putting your hands behind your back. People are like, what are they hiding? Even if they don't know it, they know it. So what do you do about the heart? Well, you think more about the sides. Don't crunch the front. Don't crunch the back. See if you can just keep the sides open. Keep your arms light. Your shoulders, your wings are not too far, not too back. Goldilocks in between. Heart needs to be open on all the sides, not just the front, not just the back, but all the way around. So I teach a lot more of the details of how to do that. But the first thing is when you walk in a room, float that heart to the sky, don't collapse it in, and don't collapse the back. Number one, heart. Heart, 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 heart. If you don't know what your heart's doing as you walk into the room, don't walk into the room. Don't walk into the room with your head or your feet. Walk with your heart. Literally, your mind. Bring your heart up forward. Huge, huge, huge. If you learn anything from me, that's the best thing you could learn. Number two, hips. Well, our hips will tend to stay rigid and tight. Tuck the tail under, straight legs, all of that. Belly kind of sucks in. No more belly sucking in, tucking the tail. If you keep a little bend in your knees, stay light on your feet, which I can teach you more later, but light on your feet, knees bent. You want your hips to be able to be so open. You can wag your tail like a dog, baby. Wag your tail like a dog, baby. Wag your tail like a dog, baby. If you can't wag your tail, people don't think you're very happy. Huh. It's weird, but I tell you what, they won't even know what you're doing. But if you're just a little bit, you could have a little bit of fluidity, a little bit of motion in your tail, your hips are open. They'll think you got more going on. You know something they don't know. And you're more dynamic, so they want to follow you. If you're a rigid leader, nobody wants to follow you. Nobody wants to follow a Hitler or Stalin at this point. Nobody's going to follow somebody that's rigid at this point. We've seen it in the past. We don't want it now. We want inspiration. Right? We don't want to be told what to do. We want to be encouraged. Well, somebody who's going to be encouraging you is going to be dynamic forward, which means their hips are going to be ready. Tail wagging is huge. So heart needs to stay open, lifted, up. Hips need to stay open, back, waggy on that tail. And then your head, okay? This is one of the most difficult parts for people, so listen in. Keep your heart up, your hips open. Your head needs to be lifted in a way where you don't seem above anybody and you don't seem below anybody, but you meet people where they are. You're safe when you do this. I'm about to tell you what to do in a second. But there's a reason as a leader you need to figure out, where is your head on your shoulders? Where are you looking? Because everybody else is seeing you. And you don't even realize. You can't really see your head because your eyes are there unless you look in the mirror. And you're not really seeing your head. You're seeing an image of your head. So you got to feel it. When your eyes are at the horizon, not too high, not too low, but right where the horizon is. You should have a nice light floaty head. Okay, your head, you don't want too far forward and you don't want too far back, but you want it right soft on your shoulders. Usually our head is too far forward. So back of the head comes up and your eyes will be at the horizon. If your heart is up and your hips are open and your head is lifted, this is the body of a leader. Your throat is open, you can speak. Your front is open, you can connect. And your hips are open, so you're ready at any time, okay, to move. So what I'm going to suggest to you is that as a little piece of homework to wrap up here is that try it out. See what happens when you walk like usual, or maybe you're a hard heel walker. See what happens, how people respond to you as a leader. And then heart up, hips open, head up, and see what happens. Test it out. That's my best advice right now. Heart up, hips open, head up, and test it out. What I have found in my experience in my own life and for all my clients is that they feel better, which attracts more people and higher level people, but it also brings in people who appreciate you. When you're with yourself, when you're with your body, when you spend time there with your mind, you're valuing yourself. When you value yourself, you spend time with yourself. When you time with yourself, you value yourself. Others value you. They'll be more willing to listen to you, support you, and be with you. So as a leader, please be with your body so that others can take your leadership.
Love it so much. And there's a trend right now for leaders to get super jacked. And if you're one of those people that wants to get a little more jacked as a leader, I would suggest that you also learn how to sit, walk, stand correctly. Because a lot of people that go through weight training and other things like that don't know that, and they injure themselves, they hurt themselves, and they're out of the game. And so yes. I've studied the body since I was in high school. I was like one of those 80s girls that was actually in the weight room with the football players, like the only girl, because I wanted to have a really well-crafted body at a young age. And so I get that and I understand that. And it's really cool when you learn from someone who has the expertise that this woman does. It's truly amazing. And, several years ago, I did a survey of some leaders and asked them what their biggest stressors were. And their body was one of their biggest stressors. It's like everything else, is going pretty good. Got a great company working here and this is going well over here, but I got a gut, or I've got issues. I hurt. My knees hurt, my hips hurt. I got lower back pain. Something was off with their body, and it caused shame and embarrassment. And in some cases, like you were saying, 35 with high blood pressure, that's an issue. And my Pressure Free CEO book is dealing with exactly that. Like most leaders and CEOs don't get a wake-up call. We need to take care of all of this. All of it.
Can I have another moment to speak
yes.
on this? I love this topic. Yes, I'm going to call everybody in and say, hey, if you are a leader, we need you right now. It is obvious we need you. So please, for the sake of yourself, for the sake of your family, for the sake of those who you lead now, and for years and years and years and years to come, your leadership is needed. And so we need you longer. So in order to stay here longer, you got to learn how to take care of yourself, right? And I know it's not easy. So I'm not trying to be like, oh, just be fit, blah, blah, blah. No, I get it. The reason I do what I do, and I didn't really say this early on, so I just want to say it because I believe in it so passionately. It's that there are a lot of leaders that want to get jacked. And they still need this, right? Movement stuff. They do. Absolutely. They need it. They need it for all sorts of reasons. I could go on and on. That's another time. But there's also people who don't want to get jacked. They just want to feel good, right? Like you said, all these leaders, like they want to feel good so they can stay around longer and have more energy to lead and just have great lives, like just to feel good, right? So what I've created because I'm a former academic, I'm an intellect. I work with basically the smarty pants brainiacs of the world who have the hugest hearts and just care about everybody else and forget about themselves sometimes. Sacrifice yourself for other people, right? Those are my people. And so I'm like, well, I've spent 8 years trying to figure out, well, how in the heck can I master my craft of helping? And I realized, especially for leaders, it's time. So I've created these sequences, and you know this, these series of movements that are 10 minutes or less, that are for busy women, busy people who don't want to be at the yoga studio, who don't want to be at the gym, who don't want to necessarily figure out how to have like a swimming exercise class. They want to walk, they want to have a good time, they want to feel good. It doesn't mean they don't want to be active, but they're not gym people. They're not gym rats. They're not yogis. They're not Pilates people. They're not these people, but they still are like, well, how in the heck am I supposed to feel good and stay fit when I'm not a fitness person? And you might look at me and be like, she's a fitness person. Well, yes, I have been a fitness person. I have been a body person my whole life, but I will tell you, I don't have to do fitness stuff much because I know how to walk, sit, stand, and just move through life.
All right.
So,
what shirt is on underneath that thing you've got on?
oh yeah, I should have done this, right?
Take it off. Take that off. I want
this
people.
Is why I'm saying I don't do a bunch of like weightlifting, but what I do is shape my hands so that my arms get buff.
When my sons saw your body, because you've taught my sons, I mean, they just couldn't believe it. It's really amazing to see you in person, but even on the screen here, you can see the elegance of all of this. And even my daughter-in-law, like my arm is 60, right? And my daughter's all like, she's like, oh, I want arms like Elle, you know?
Yes.
So it's because of you that this has started to really craft, you know, it's very cool. And I've done weights, I've done all kinds of things. What you do is different, it's powerful. So how can people get in touch with you? Do you have something special for people? We'll have the links down below on this page for sure, but I want you to share too.
I have 2 things. So one is if you want to download, it's a free training from a course called Move and Grow Rich. So all the leaders I know, we want to be rich in different parts of our life. Whatever it means, doesn't mean money, it means all the rich ways, but how you move through life is how life moves through you. So it's Body with Lila, Lila, bodywithlila.com. And that you'll see a really smooth, systematic way of how to shift your body so that you can create more abundance. That's really the key here. So that's the first part, bodywithlila.com, free training. I also have a group experience, 6-week, 42-day feel good rebellion challenge. It's really easy to feel sad, mad, depressed, angry, overwhelmed, stuck, confused right now. It's not easy to feel good, but I have a group of women who've come together and are doing it. And I'm starting it again October 3rd, 2022. Riverstonemovement.com. That's my movement school, riverstonemovement.com. You can see all about it, and that's the program that Elle mentioned earlier.
Is it just for women? I'm curious.
It is for women right now.
Okay.
That may change over time. I will tell you why. The women will show up more when there are no men.
Okay.
I've witnessed. So I'm holding a sacred space for the women right now to show up in a more vulnerable way without that male piece there that tends to change things a bit.
But you would work privately with a man, right?
I work with men. I work with couples, and I've worked with some amazing. I actually have you mentioned I work with somebody right now, a couple who both of them are super jacked. So, yeah. And so, yes, absolutely. What I teach will benefit men for sure. My group program right now is just simply for the ladies.
It's good for me to know that, because I was just about to recruit a whole bunch of guys. So,
well, we'll have another one for the man. Probably not probably, but definitely in 2023.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Lila. This is fantastic. I really encourage people to check out what Lila has for you. just the slightest little thing. I mean, especially if you've got pain, to be pain-free is awesome. We talk about that so much in pressure-free living. Mental pain, physical pain takes you out of your game. So thank you so much. I'm so glad you shared today.
Thank you.
Bye.